Glad to be back, bro.
Look at first off, as always, man, I want to thank God for having, the opportunity for myself and you, to come on and just let folks know that, hey, we back. Big shout out to Oz and Lee that's in the background holding it down for the one time. And then big shout out to everyone that's out there, man. Like, you've been patiently waiting. I appreciate it. I know Big Bro appreciate it. But long story short, for those of you who wasn't aware, I was in Korea and then I had to transition back into the States. The transition didn't really take that long, but it was more so about like getting all my stuff here was the long part. And then once everything got here, it's just kind of figuring out how we want to align as far as when we could actually do the podcast itself, so that it can be consistent and it's not on like different days. Like we do a podcast on Tuesday, then it's on Thursday, then on Saturday, etc. So as of right now, this year is going to be the times. All right, it's going to be on Saturday, all right, around this time. Just be looking out for the flyers. But yeah, Big Bro, what's up, man? What is it that you've been up to since we've been away?
Man, hey, so everybody know in October I tore my patella tendon, so I was on the shelf. So when we went off the air in April, I was still on the shelf for a little bit. But now, brother back out there on that golf course chasing that little ball around trying to make this extra cheese on the side. You know what I'm saying? I had about four tournaments, got 2 more to go for this year. But that's what I've been doing, man, just enjoying life and trying to hone this game in so I can make some money, man. So I've been doing pretty good. I'm finally back to 100% now, both physically and mentally. So that's been a definite victory for me because I was struggling when I first came back on that golf course. But, just being back on this, though, man, it fills my heart, bro. I'm happy. I'm really happy to be back, Well, that's what I'm saying. I wish I was a pro, but yeah, I'm back, man. But that's all I've been doing, working and golfing. That's it. And traveling a little bit, too, but working and golfing, man.
Okay, travel a bit. Listen, man, it sounds like, you just been enjoying it. It's good to sometimes, just get your mind away from things and kind of, recollect and do things that kind of keep you grounded. But the main question that I get asked, and I'm going to just kind of transfer it over to you. A lot of people ask, what is Parallel Gens? Why did we come up with the name? What does it represent? What does it stand for? What is Parallel Gens?
To me, Parallel Gens, the name derived from Legendary's age and my age. For the people that don't know, I'll tell you, I'm 60, Legendary almost 40. So it only made sense for us to do something that covered many generations. So that's what we talked about Parallel Gens, because not only are we able to cover different generations, our mindset is kind of matched up a little bit as well. We do disagree. I mean, we're not over here just throwing stuff out there. We do disagree about things sometimes, but we disagree in a healthy way, though, because the one thing that we want this show to be is something for everyone to come in and learn something from it, and also a safe place where people can come in here and give their opinions about what we're talking about, and we can give our opinions, and we're not judged from or we're not disrespectful. So it's all about us sharing information. Maybe if we can help one person with whatever we're talking about, then I feel like we've been successful. So yeah, it's all about that. It's all about the parallel generations and our mindset, and also just sharing with everyone the things that we've learned through life, and just hopefully we can help people. I really like to help. That's my big thing in life. I like helping people, So what about for you?
Absolutely. So, look, just to add on to that, because, obviously you already stated the obvious, but just giving us or giving the world our personal experiences, things that we genuinely went through, things that we can genuinely talk about, and things that we can genuinely back up. It's not something that you read in the book. It's not something that, we just pull out of thin air. This is things that we share to you that's in a sense kind of gives our vulnerability to what it is that we genuinely want to stand for Parallel Gens. And with that, it's just us really giving us our experiences and giving you, authentic communication as far as like what we've been through. So again, you might not agree what myself and the Big Bro is always saying, but at the end of the day, it's just genuinely what we, in a sense, stand for and what we've experienced throughout life. All right, Big Bro, I'm ready when you're ready.
Let's do it. So the first thing we're gonna do, we kind of like introduce what we've been doing and everything, so that's what we've been doing. Like I said, Legendary and I probably back in like August a time frame or so, we met up and we said I was coming to your live in the morning, and I said, hey man, that this ties it all in right now. You were thinking it, you told Eyes about it, and then I said it. We should do a podcast together. Wait a minute. Stop the presses before we get started. We please forgive us. We got two extraordinary people. It's not just us that's doing this. We got two extraordinary people to help us get to where we can come over here and run our mouths about what we've been through. But without them, there would not be a Parallel Gens. We got Lee and Eyes that's in the comments. They're going to be taking your questions down. They're going to make sure that we don't miss any questions. So we're going to answer questions at the end of it versus trying to answer questions throughout, because sometimes they get a little lengthy. So we don't want to delay our topic. So yes, that's it, man. It's just that's where we at. So I'm sorry. I just want to get that in because I forgot to do that.
Right now, we're good to go. Hey, Oz and Lee, as always, we always say, and obviously, the world don't get to see Oz and Lee, but they are definitely part of the Parallel Gens. Just so that y'all track. All right, so I know you got a topic that you want to discuss.
Yes,
What you
sir.
got for us,
And
bro?
this is one you're gonna love, though. I picked this one just for you, jumping right off the
Oh
bat. Just
Lord.
just remember, though, we're on a time crunch. So don't. I mean, I know you're gonna get off into it, and I want you to get off into it. I know it's your passion, but I picked it because it's not just talking about it. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is managing financial stress. Instead of just talking about just finances as a whole, I want to talk a little bit about how people can manage the stress of their finances and what that looks like to you, and then I'll give my take on it also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So for those who don't know, man, I've been in the military for just about 19 years. I'm getting ready to retire next year, just hanging the head up, so to speak. But I also teach finance. So as an instructor, right, I teach junior soldiers how to be leaders in the army. But with that, we teach finance um, and other things. So when it comes to responsible spending or smart spending, the first things first is you have to put your pride to the side and understand what your finances look like. All right. There's just one of those things like, like when people say, oh, you're an adult, you're supposed to just know how to do things, or you're an adult, you should know how to manage your finances. But if no one really set you down and talk to you about finances can be in a sense stressful. It can be rough. So when it comes to managing stress or when it comes to managing your finances, you have to stay within the limits of whatever it is that you're making. A lot of times, and me growing up in my 20s was, I failed to it as well. You try to impress other people with your own finances. And what I mean by that is, back in the day, I got this 2010 Dodge Charger and it's 2010. But me being 19, 20 years old, I don't need that. I already know that's too expensive for my budget. But because I want to show everybody I can ride around in the Dodge Charger, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. With that being said, you got to understand that you got to stay within your limits, right? Just how you kind of automatically want to upgrade to a new iPhone. You don't need to do that all the time. So when it comes to managing stress, the first thing about it is don't put yourself in stressful situations. That makes sense. What that looks like. If you only make a certain amount of money and there's no other income, you're not getting any type of passive income, you're not getting any type of income from a business, you only getting it from your one particular job, understand how to save, understand how to budget. Budget shouldn't be something that you do one time. You should budget and then you should look over it again the next month. And then you should do some slight changes. And then you just can consistently do that until you yourself knows where every penny is going within your money. If you don't understand that and you just kind of winging it in itself, then it's gonna go downhill pretty quick. Those of you, you know how like when you don't make a list, but you got to go grocery shopping. And like as you looking in your cabinet stuff, you're like, oh man, I need bread, I need butter, I need this and this. And I can remember all that. And then you go to the grocery store, and then you're like, dang, I need this. Okay, I got it. And then when you get home from the grocery store, you're like, oh man, I forgot the eggs. Or, oh man, I forgot the bread. Well, what could have prevented that? You writing it down. But in the finance world, we call that budgeting. So you need to budget. Before I move on, big bro, I know you want to talk about it too, because I'm gonna get a little bit, a little bit more in detail of what I mean. But what you got before I
I got a
continue
couple
on?
of things. I got a couple of things I'll add to it. I leave that finance thing to you, but I do have some stuff that I want to recommend. And the first thing is you should, like you said, not only create a budget, but create a realistic budget. Sit down and make sure that it's something that fits your finances versus just a general budget. So that's the first thing. The other thing is build an emergency fund. Build that emergency fund to help you out a little bit. Communicate and seek support to help you do that if you need it. And then the last two things I'll say is focus on what you can control and take care of your mental and physical health also to help you manage your budget. So those are things I'll add to it, and I'll let you jump back on it. I know
Yeah, yeah.
that's your
Oh,
lane.
right, absolutely. So when it comes to you, in a sense, saving, right? This is, in a sense, what's supposed to happen, right? You get your paycheck, right? You allocate a specific amount or percentage that go into a savings account regardless of what happens. All right, so you have to understand you got a checking account, you got a savings account, and then you have an emergency fund. Those are all different. They're not the same. You shouldn't combine them and put them all in one account and say, hey, I'm gonna utilize this account for all those things. First things first, right? You build your emergency fund. Once you build your emergency fund, then you build your savings account. Okay, your emergency fund is exactly what it's called. It's for an emergency, right? You don't want to use things as far as like your credit card to rack up more. That's gonna only enhance the stress that you have when it comes to your financial responsibility. Next up, credit cards, right? So when you talk about credit cards in a sense is for major purchases. You shouldn't be in a sense just swiping your credit card knowing that you don't have the means of backing it up. So the number one rule of thumb when it comes to utilizing your credit cards, in a sense, right? If you have the cash to buy it, then buy it. Don't in a sense rely on the credit card. That's where it becomes a problem. If you have the funds, right, to pay things back on your credit card and you want to utilize your credit card, by all means do that. The problem lies when you rely solely on your credit cards. That's when it becomes a downhill motion. Don't do that, right? When it comes to renting to own, don't rent to own. If you want it that bad, save up for yourself. Take $20 here, take $100 here, a paycheck, and you put it to the side. If you utilize these rent to own services, let's just say that you want to rent on, I don't know, a TV, and a TV is $800. And within that, you're going to utilize the rent to own. So you're going to pay, let's say weekly, you're going to pay $35 a weekly. When you are done paying on your agreement, whatever contract place that you utilize, instead of you paying $800, you don't bought like six TVs. Meaning you don't pay well over $5,200 when you're only supposed to pay $800. So it's easier for you to just save that up and then buy it with cash versus you using those rent to own places. Another thing, when it comes to your car, in a sense, right? This is gonna hurt some feelings, but your car, in a sense, bro, you shouldn't be paying over $500 a month with your car. Now I know a lot of people is like, what world are you living in to where you don't pay over $500? Now listen, if it's something that you felt like you deserve and that you can handle, by all means. But when you truly think about it, your car payment shouldn't be over $500 in a sense, and $500 is pushing it. When it comes to you understanding, like, hey, maybe I don't need this 2025. Maybe I can buy me a 2015 that has all those extra features, and my car payment to be around $100, $200, and I can use that extra $300 to save, so that when I do pay this car off, then I can put a bigger down payment on a car that I really want. So essentially, you paying for the car, the 2015, 2016, and then that buffer that you gave yourself, that 300, 200 extra dollars that you would pay for the new car, you add that to your savings account. If that makes sense. So once you do that, you pay your 2015, you pay that car off. Here come 2026 or 27. Now you have about a good $18,000, $22,000 saved up that you can put towards whatever it is, so that you can lower your payments. And then lastly, before I get back over to you, big bro, is you have to understand your credit score as well as the percentages as far as the interest rate, right? The lower that your credit score is, the higher your interest rates is. Your interest rate is as simple as a dollar. It's the penny on every dollar that you, in a sense, request or that you're borrowing, in a sense. So let's just say that the interest rate is freaking 2%. All right, 2%. Anything under let's say 7.5% in today's world is a good interest rate. But it ties into your credit score. So the higher your credit score is, the lower your interest rate is. Meaning the more you can pay on the principal versus you paying in interest. This is where these credit cards get you as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. When it comes to you and your credit, you have to put that. You have to make it a priority. You can't mess around with your credit and then, say, hey, I can fix my credit in when I'm in my 30s or I'm in my 40s. Yeah, you can, but it's that much harder. When you get anything negative on your credit report, it's gonna stay on there for a minimum of 7 years. 7 years. Some of you are like, yeah, I can handle 7 years. Yeah, you probably could, but you need to learn how to utilize your finances now versus when you are 30 and you 40 and 50 years old. It's gonna hurt you in the long run. But yeah, bro, I mean, we can keep going, but if you want to add in, by all means.
The only thing I want to say is that the topic was managing financial stress. So everything that Legendary talked about and the things I gave you, those are all things to help you manage your stress to make sure that when something happens, a perfect example for he and I right now is that the government is shut down, but
Mhm.
we're both having to still work and we're not getting paid to work right now. So if you had that extra buffer and that savings, this time wouldn't be stressful for you because you have set aside some money for some emergency situations, or you set aside some money in a different pot for unexpected things that come up. Whatever, however you title it, however you want to do it, but you've made sure that if something like this comes up, or if you need a new transmission or whatever, you have the money to pay it, and it's not stressing you out where you can't go out and still buy your groceries and pay your light bill and things like that. So this is a perfect time. I'm not sure how many people out there work with the federal government, but right now it's shut down. So a lot of people are stressing about they're not getting their paycheck when the next pay period comes around.
Absolutely. And then one thing I want to add to that, because I hear it a couple of times how, like, for whatever reason, it's frowned upon when you are an adult or you classified as an adult, you pay all your bills and you don't have money left over. That's not a bad thing, in a sense. If you really living within your means, you paying all your bills paid, all your bills are paid, and you kind of, what I'm saying, you kind of at that thresh level. That's good because eventually you're gonna get a pay raise. Eventually you gonna move on. Eventually you gonna get some type of extra income bonus, etc. to where it's gonna help you. Or you can do things on the side. There's nothing wrong with you door dashing. There's nothing wrong with you utilizing lift services. There's plenty of things for you to acquire more money in a sense as well. So when you hear people in a sense say like, "Hey, I paid all my bills, but I ain't got no money left over," bro, that's called you being an adult. That's called adulting. All right. A lot of people are maxing out their credit cards, trying to show off for social media. So if you fall in that category, don't feel bad. Continue doing what you're doing, and or obviously level up.
That's what's up. Do you have anything else on managing your financial stress?
Nah, and then obviously when it comes as too much, when like when you spiraling, I mean, there's also things that can help you get out of that too. You can utilize the bankruptcy system. Just understand what that means and what that entails. You can. I don't really request a lot of people to, in a sense, get these payday loans because those interest rates alone is gonna kill you. But the first things first, right, is just understanding your finances and don't allow yourself to slide into the financial stresses. Do your part.
Good stuff. A lot of good information, bro. And at some point, we are going to. We don't know what the parameters will be, but he'll have a financial. Everyone always asking about a financial class, but he's going to do that one day where we can just strictly focus on that. But that'll be something special outside of this, though. All right, man. So we're going to jump into the next topic. The next topic is going to be talking about the fear, something you may be going through right now, the fear of starting over professionally and what that looks like. What are the different things that come along with that? And I'll just give a couple of bullet points to help us along with that so then we can jump into it. The first thing is the fear of failure. Do you fear failing when you're going into something new? The fear of financial instability, the fear of judgment or criticism, the fear of the unknown, and the fear of not being good enough for whatever you're getting ready to go into. So I'll let you go if you want to go. If not, I'll go.
Yeah, I'll start it off. Just
All
just
right.
so just to give that background again, I'm getting ready to retire here in the military. My official retirement date is 2 November 2026. So November of next year. But with that, even though that's my specific retirement date, I'm gonna be out the army before then because I have my ETS leave, meaning I have leave days prior that's gonna lead me up to my leave. I mean to my my retirement date. So I can essentially be out the military 4 months prior or 3 months prior to my actual ET. All right. With that being said, though, I joined the military when I was 18 slash almost 19 years old. So as an adult, the military is essentially all that I know, right? When it
Me too.
comes to anything outside of the military, I don't have a lot of experience in that. Especially when it comes to customer service outside of the military, when it comes to how simple things as far as how you communicate in the corporate world. I don't have any type of training there because all I know is the military standpoint. Now, in the military, there are specific words and things that we can say and that we can't say that you know and I know that's possibly allowed and or not allowed on the civilian side versus what's allowed in the military side and then vice versa. So for me personally, I think the biggest, this is a very transparent and vulnerable moment, but I think what scares me the most about getting out of the military is the actual unknown. Do I think I'm gonna thrive and excel outside of the military? Of course. Only because the mental agility and things that they teach you in the military, it don't go away. It's not a light switch that go on and off. So once you get out of the military, I know that I still have these grounding techniques that the military has taught me to where I know that I can utilize on the outside world. But with that being said, though, those of you who's already in the corporate world, who's already in the civilian sector, you got a one up on me because even though I have an idea, I haven't done it. And you actually experiencing it for yourself, you kind of understand. Okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can get paid time off. I don't have to ask nobody for permission, or maybe I got to ask somebody for permission. I can do this, I can do that. You already understand how it operates out there. With me, I only know the military side. Again, my biggest thing is just the unknown. I don't know if I'm gonna say stuff that's gonna offend somebody. I don't know if I'm gonna handle somebody as far as somebody talking to me crazy and I don't body slam them out. I don't know if I'm not gonna go off with me being a supervisor to one of my employees and etc. The last thing that I'm gonna talk about when it comes to that is I'm so used to moving around in the military that now I just want to sit down when I retire. But that scares me only because I don't know what that looks like, even though I kind of have an idea. My retirement places for me specifically is going to be Texas, Florida, and or Georgia, and I kind of added in New Jersey here, probably about a few weeks ago. With that being said, though, I think that just depends on the type of job that, in a sense, that I'm gonna get. How that relates to y'all, in a sense, is there's nothing wrong with change. Change can be a positive thing, even though it might seem scary, or even though it might seem like, hey, I don't know how to do this. This is where growth comes from. This is where you understand how to utilize grounding techniques, whatever it is. It can be religion, it can be music, whatever that's going to keep you level headed. And it also teaches you resiliency as far as if I mess up, I have the ability to get up and try again. I have the ability to bounce back and understand, hey, I might have got it wrong this time, but I can get it on the next time. Big bro, what you got to add to that?
Yeah, this is it's an interesting topic for me because as you know, I'm working still in the military right now. But when I initially retired, I had no clue about what I was going to do. And the same fears that you're talking about right now,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to worry about them initially because I had planned to stay at home with my 4 month old little baby girl. So I did that for about a year and a half. But then I got a call from a friend of mine that was still in the career field I was in and said, "Do you want a job?" So for me, this is my 40th year. I've never worked in the other than when I was in high school, in the true civilian sector because I'm still tied to the military. I'm still tied to the same job that I did when I was in the military. So I know everybody in the career field. So for me, it's been a true blessing to be able to do that because I didn't have to worry about going and deal with it. All the language is the same. The only thing I did was go from wearing the uniform to being in civilian clothes. And that was it. But what you said about the moving around part, that's a true thing. That's a real thing. Because one thing I had to wrap my mind around, although I was in the same culture, around the same job, I had to wrap my mind around that people were coming and people were leaving. And I started getting that itch about wanting to leave also. But then I looked around, oh, you're not going nowhere. So I had to refocus my mind, reprogram my mind to know that this was it unless I decided to leave that job and get a new job outside of the walls or the sanctuary of being in the Air Force or civilian sector in the in DOD. So that was really tough because I finally talked to someone about it, in the office about it, and said, you know what? The person, my boss, I said, you know what? This is difficult because I see people coming and going, and I'm my mind. I'm thinking that in 2 or 3 years, I'm gonna be doing the same thing. But that whole PCS thing was gone out the window, So as far as being still in the sector that I worked in, like I said when I first started talking about it, it's been a true blessing, man. Because I'm still able to give back. So I didn't really experience any fear because I was in the same career field. The only thing I have to do is deal with people. Sometimes, unfortunately, I deal with people in the career field I'm in that they are kind of they're hesitant to follow a civilian, right? But I try to let them know that I'm a civilian, but I'm a hybrid civilian, though. I did this for 20 years. You just been in the military 2, 3 years. If
Right.
you listen to this old dude, he may be able to help you succeed and be successful in your career if you want to. But if you don't want to, then I'll stay over here on the sideline and watch you go down that road. So that's been a tough part for some people, not for me, but it's been hard for them. So that I never had a fear because I was in the same thing. I knew everybody. It was very comfortable. So that's not the path that everyone normally takes, especially in the same job. Many people stay in the military, but they don't stay in the same job though. So being able to stay in the same job for the last since 1984, man, has been a true blessing for me. So I never had to deal with that, and I've seen a lot of people deal with that. And some people, I saw one man, he left that job and went to work at Amazon. He lost, he didn't know how to deal with that because the people he couldn't tell people what to do and how to do. He could tell them, but they didn't listen like they listened in the military though. So he had a hard time adjusting to that. So it's difficult sometimes. So yeah, so for me, it was a very easy transition, and it's been a true blessing for me.
Okay. Yeah. And then again, like just to add on to that, I think another one is more so of the new job. Is it going to be remote or is it going to be this type of establishment? That kind of thing. It don't really scares me, but that unknown scares me only because around I'm just tired of moving around so much. I genuinely want, in a sense, to just plant roots, plant something and just stay there and then operate from there. There's a lot of benefits obviously that I've heard with transitioning out of the military to where you traveling it'd be more obviously, but at the same time it's just more so of like, man, I've been traveling my whole career. I want to get something that in a sense that I can just stay here and then work.
That's what's up. I think you're gonna be fine though. I know the military. The military really prepares us for to be resilient and also to go into a situation and make the best of it. If you choose to take the teachings and the learnings that you've learned over the years, and for you, that won't be a problem for you because you have you'll be able to adapt to anything that you go into and be successful at it. So and I hope that your passion that you've talked about before. I hope that you're able to go and teach because I think you have a lot to offer still. It really the parallel gens thing. It would be
Right.
kind of the same thing I did. I left the military as a senior NCO, and now I went back into it as a civilian. But I'm still able to give back to the young troops, to the instructors, and all in the career field in itself. So hopefully you're able to do that because I think that'll be not only good for you, but it'll be good for the people that you're standing in front of on a day-to-day basis and talking to them and educating them. So hopefully that works out for you.
Man, it's so rewarding to have soldiers or people in a sense who look up to you in that aspect and say, "Hey, Big Star, I appreciate you for teaching it like this way because it helped me in this aspect." Or, "Hey, Big Star, I appreciate you for utilizing your own personality to teach us because it kept me awake, it kept me engaged, it kept me when you was utilizing that concrete experience." My personality is my personality. What scares me with have my personality is in the civilian side. Is it too much or is it not enough? Or would I have a problem dialing it up or dialing it back?
I think because you are very level headed, you will go into that and read the room per se, and you will adjust to what you're walking into. You're not going. I've seen a lot of people crash out where they go into it and they bring the military culture to whatever civilian job they're going into and try to change that culture. I don't see you doing that. I see that you going into it and you're going to adapt and overcome the situation that you go into. And I think that's going to be one thing that'll really help you out. Is because you will adapt. You know that you can't go there and make them be abide by the culture that you've been abiding to for the last 20 some years. That
Right.
just won't happen. So I think you're gonna be fine. And you got me. I'm right here for you. So if you need
Nah,
to
big bro,
chop it
yeah.
up with me, I'm gonna be here for you. So But yeah, I think you'll be fine. I'm gonna tell you a quick story, and then I'll go. I was about 3 years ago. I was on the golf course with this guy. I didn't know he was in the military until he started talking. He was a retired E8, and he had been out of the military for 5 years. This dude told me, legendary. He said that I miss it so much. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get back in. You know, you reach a higher tenure, right? There's no way for you to get back in. But he was someone that he was not prepared to transition from being in a position of authority to now be in a position where he's not in the military and have that say, like you said, you look at it differently, like you just said, people coming to you and thanking you for it. He looked at it as it was like a badge of honor that people are doing this. It wasn't because he wanted to help them, but because he was in charge and they had to listen to him. And that's why he couldn't get back into it, because he went into it trying to be this person that he wasn't. Your personality will allow you. Matter of fact, I think you're gonna thrive even more, to be honest with you, because you're gonna go into it. You're gonna be able to let your hair down a little bit and relax and have a good time, versus always having to be on guard because you are the big sarge. So I think you're gonna be fine.
Well, yeah, hey, look, consistently praying and and being open minded. So at the end of the day, even though it's terrifying and those fears do happen, I truly, truly believe, like once I get out there, say get my feet wet in a sense, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
I'm looking forward to see where it's gonna take you.
But look, there it is. All right, big bro, you got another topic for us? What we got
All
going
right.
on?
So yeah, so that was a good one. I like that one. I think a lot of people kind of relate to that one, but the next one we're gonna jump into is something that we've touched on before, but I thought it was important that we do it again because there are so many different people that struggle with seeking help when they need to get help. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So this just ties into the first two about the stress of finances and also the fear of starting over professionally. That the stigma of going and seeking out therapy when you need it. And I'll just start off with me. I'll just be totally transparent. Is that I go to counseling right now. I'm not afraid to go to counseling because sometimes you need someone to help you reestablish your foundation, to reestablish your mindset to get back on track. Because if I'm just continually, doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not changing, obviously I need someone to help me get through that. And
mhm.
I love it though, man, because it gives me an opportunity to go in there and just talk about anything and everything what I'm going through and share with that person. And they give me the tools to help me deal with that. Now, I'm going to be honest though and totally transparent. There was a time in my life where I didn't think no one could help me. But that was only because of the circumstances that I grew up in and the culture I grew up in as a young man, watching other people say the same thing. So but I truly believe in it. This is my second time going through something like this, but it's been I can't explain how much it's helped me refocus and gain might back. A lot of times we lose ourselves in those thoughts and those things like that because we don't get the help and we don't know what we need to do to get better. But it's helped me be a better person, and I'm 60, but I'm still learning stuff about who I am as a person, dealing with childhood trauma. I had never dealt with that before. This person has helped me deal with that childhood trauma where I can get better and put those things behind me instead of me bringing to a conversation Lil Mike. Now I'm bringing the grown Mike to the conversation versus Lil Mike to the conversation. So those type of things help. So what I would say that if there's anyone out there that you are struggling with an issue that you haven't dealt with from childhood, go get some help. But find someone that you can relate to, and don't have to look like us neither. It could be just as long as it's someone that's going to be honest with you, and you can be honest with them, and they can help you get through a situation. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I'll turn it over to you for now, right now, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna stay on the same lines that you on. It's funny because we did talk about this, but just the stigma of our culture. Ah man, I ain't gonna talk to nobody. I'm gonna talk to nobody who ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like that mentality is just how I grew up with. Until I came into the military, and then you kind of understand why the military pushes you to go and seek behavior health, or you to go and go talk to somebody when it comes to therapy, because it genuinely helps. A lot of times we want to confide in people who we trust, or people who who loves us. There's nothing wrong with that, but the only downfall to that is they are on your side. These are the people who, in a sense, want to see you succeed, but they want you to know that they got your back, i.e., your mom, your dad, brother, sister, uncle. These people are tied to you, obviously, right? But they want to see you succeed. The only downfall again is they not gonna be in a sense biased towards what it is that you're telling them. They just want you to know that they got your back. When it comes to you talking to somebody professionally, these people unbiased, right? So they're gonna tell you exactly what it is that's happening, exactly what it is on how you should maneuver, and then what it looks like once you start coming on the other side of it. The meat and potatoes, they give you different avenues of approach of how to handle one specific situation. So if you, in a sense, going through, hey man, like mentally, I'm not there, right? In a sense, they'll ask you, all right, so what's going on? The more you open up and the more you talk, the more that they can help you in a sense. The good thing about it though is the meat and potatoes, right? They give you different ways on how to reach the same common goal. So hey, maybe you should handle it this way. And if this don't work, it's okay. Come back around, make a U-turn and go about this way. Go utilize this system. Go utilize this system. So when it comes to you utilizing the therapy, it works. Like these are people who are professionals. Your family members, they're not professionals, but they just want you to, they have their good intentions, but you got to understand they're biased towards you. You need someone who's unbiased and is going to give it to you straight. And the only way for you, in a sense, to do that is to get someone who does it professionally. Once you break the stigma of, oh man, therapy makes you look weak, or therapy makes people think less of you, or therapy might think that you want to harm yourself, and etc. Once you can get past all of those, because in all in our reality, that's just not true. It's just not. And once you utilize the systems that not even the military, but the civilian sector go, like, these people are professionals. They can help you in that sense. All right, big bro.
So I'm gonna be transparent. I don't, I'll lay it out there on the table. I don't even care. So this past week, I went in to see my therapist. Excellent, excellent, excellent person, man. And I enjoy going to see her, and it really helps me out. But one thing I asked her, and this is I'm just being totally transparent. I said sometimes, like 2 or 3 times a year, I have this thought about I should harm myself. And I just want to know, what do you think about that? Is that normal? What are you thinking? What's your professional opinion about me thinking that? And she told me, she said, that's normal. She said, as long as you're not trying to act on it or anything like that, because we look at it and we'll say that, I have this kind of power that this is what I can do, but it's not the intention of doing it. She said the problem you have is when you get to the point where you're thinking about it, you're taking out things and thinking about doing it. That's a different story. But the thought of coming into your mind is a normal thing. And I'm sure a lot more people have that thought than they will admit to that.
Right.
But I just wanted to know, because I've had it before, and I wanted to know if it was something I needed to talk to her about, because I was having that thought, because I've had it like 2 or 3 times in the last year. Nothing, it was just a quick thought and then moved on from it. You know what I mean? But it wasn't something I harped on 2 or 3 days and started giving stuff away and things like that. It's just like thinking about, oh man, that cloud is pretty. It was just a thought just like that. That's all it was. And she said that it's just a normal thing, and she shared something with me about her too. She said, I thought about this, but that don't mean I'm trying to act on it though. So, but there are some things that we can do though. You have to be willing to talk openly about what you're going through. And if you're not ready to be honest about what you're going through, then therapy is not going to help you if you don't go in there, because you have to go in there with that person and lay it on the table and be willing to share what your deepest, most inner thoughts are. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're going to have a problem. And if you have someone that you're around, educate them. If you hear them say that therapy is not for them, educate them to give them the support, to give them the power to want to go get help, because they will come back a better person if they're willing to go in there and openly talk about what they're experiencing and going through. Because what I've found in just general life in period for myself, or the people I've been around, most, if not all of us, have some type of childhood trauma that we've gone through that we haven't dealt with yet. And until you deal with it, no matter how old you get, no matter how many professional accolades you get, no matter how much you make on your job, you're still going to be that person until you really dig deep, peel the onion back, and deal with that childhood trauma that you're going through. Because you don't realize it, but it impacts a lot of the decisions that you're making now. So we got to make sure that we clear that out and get rid of that. Because one thing I had to do, and I'm still working on it right now, I had to write a letter to Lil Mike. So I'm still working on that letter now to put Lil Mike behind me, because I was bringing a lot of the things that I had when I went through with my mom going through abuse and things like that. I was bringing a lot of those things into relationships and didn't even know I was doing it. It was just a natural thing for me to do it. So I just think we have to normalize it and continue to talk about it and share with anyone, but especially us though, because this males, we are the biggest offenders. Say, I don't need that kind of help. I don't need nobody to tell me what I need. I know what I need. Okay. You keep doing that thing and you'll keep hitting that wall that you keep hitting if you don't get the help you need.
Yeah, and then the last thing I'm add on to that is if you're in a relationship or if you see somebody that you close with in a sense and they looking like, that they going through something and you don't want to directly, ask them those things. I think it's better for you to essentially just be straightforward about it versus you kind of like push it to the side and then find out, oh man, a week later this happened, but you could have prevented it. So what that looks like in a sense is like, hey, intervening. Hey, you look like you want to X, Y, and Z. Are you okay? Is something you want to talk about? And then sometimes they'll brush it off, or if you really genuine, they can tell you genuine. They're just poor and let it all out. And again, it's rather you be uncomfortable for those first 1 minute to 5 minutes, etc., versus them doing something in a sense that's permanent to a temporary problem, and you knowing that you could have did something, but you chose not to do that. So when it's somebody that you care about, when it's somebody that you genuinely want to see succeed, you genuinely want to help out, it's okay to ask those hard questions. Ask them, intervene somehow. There's been a lot of times to where you within the military, they got roommates and it's like, man, I saw the signs, but I just didn't ask, or I saw the signs and I was just embarrassed to ask, or I saw the signs and he just looked like he got his stuff together. I.e., these movie stars, these actors, these artists, when you see that they in a sense unallowed themselves, you like, damn, why would they do that? They had so much. They got the money, the house, the cars. They got all these. What you said, all these accolades. But you have to understand that there's a different type of piece or different type of things that people require. That's not always materialistic, even though it looks like they having a ball, but behind the scenes, just like social media. On social media, it looks like it's fun, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that's happening. So, if that's the case again, right? If you fall in that category, go seek the help. Like it's there. You see it pop up on commercials. You see it on bulletin boards. You kind of pass by, like, oh, you know what? I should call them. I'll do it next time. And then next time just keeps consistently being next time, and then you just keep spiraling. Once you understand it, once you say, hey, something is off, something is wrong, something is not allowing me to be myself. That's when it starts. That's when you need to, in a sense, have that light bulb. Like, you know what? Maybe I need to go get some professional help. Maybe I need to go talk to somebody, etc.
Yeah, I'll touch on one thing you said, and I think that's very important that you try to recognize that you need the help, and not only recognizing it, but then you act on it and go get some help though, and don't wait. Especially, there are so many different resources out there now that you can chime in just online. You can do it online. You don't have to go to an office. A lot of people do it online, and and it's the same as going to the office. I do both. I do more in office than online, but I like online also because it's convenient sometimes. I can tell you though, one time early on when I first started going this year, I did it in the office one time at work. Closed my door like I was in a normal meeting, and unfortunately, we went through some very traumatic things I had gone through in a childhood and talked about them that day, and then I had to open my door and be normal again. I never did it at work again because as soon as my door opened and that little sign was off the door saying I was in a meeting, people was at my door asking me questions, and I wasn't in a frame of mind to deal with that. So it really it messed me up. But I think online gives you another avenue to make it easier for you to do it. So one thing I'll say is that whenever you go into a relationship, I'm not saying the first date because you may scare people off,
Right. Right.
but you should normalize talking about who you are as a person to give that person an opportunity to make an informed decision about whether they want to go forward with you. Because if you hide it, eventually your true self is going to come out and then you're going to ruin it. But I think most people, if it's a mature person, they will understand if they're mature enough to realize that this is somebody I may want to rock with because they're honest enough to let me know that they're going through something right now. They want to be in a relationship. They let me know that they were going through it, and now we can deal with that. But if you don't tell them, and then they find out later on, then that could be a sign that you won't be honest. So I would say early on in a relationship, let people know that way they can make an informed decision about whether they want to go down that road with you. But I think they will respect you more, even if they don't go down the road with you. They will respect you more if you let them know that you're going through something and you share that with them. I'm not saying do this on the first date though, because you may not
Right.
get a call back.
He said not
Get
doing the first day, might not get a call back. That's crazy.
You
That's
may not
crazy.
get a call back, and you may not get a text back or whatever. You didn't get nothing back. They gonna what they call it. We talked about it ghosting. They're gonna ghost you.
So outside of the professional help, the professional ones who get, in a sense, who's paid to do these things or to acquire this knowledge to help other people. What else would you suggest outside of professional help when it comes to you seeking help or seeking therapy?
I think what we're doing right now, there's a lot of research you can do on your own and give you things to help you out right now. I've always, once I get a topic or once I think something, I'll go look it up. And I don't just look at Google. I dig deep into it. And then you can find out a lot. There are a lot of different examples out there, a lot of different books that talk about mental health and the things we've just talked about tonight, that can help you get through it. So there's a lot of different readings that you can do, but go look it up for yourself. And also, if you know someone that's personally been through it, ask if you can talk to them if you're going through the same thing. Nothing is better than a true life example of what you're going through to get and help you get through that. That's what I find most helpful. Now, that may just be something to help you get through it, but then once you get that, then I still recommend the professional help though. Because although we can talk to someone or read something, we still need someone to talk to us about different things because we're going to react a certain way and we're going to think we're great because we just think we're great. But someone sitting across from us that has no gain to it other than to help you out, they're going to be honest with you about what you're going through and they're going to call you out when you're doing something that, no, you weren't doing that. You were doing this. It may hurt, but it's to help you out. So I would say, yeah, reading and also seeking out someone that's gone through it firsthand just to talk to them about it and then go get professional help after that.
Absolutely. And the last one that I'm gonna add to that, those of you who are, in a sense, who are religious, you know what I'm saying, go talk to your chaplain, go talk to your pastor, go talk to the people, in a sense, who's put in place to help and guide you throughout your spiritual healing, your holistic healing, all those things. Go talk to someone. Don't just hold things in, because then it becomes unbearable. Then that's when you genuinely get to spiraling and then you break.
Yes. Yeah. Don't sit out there by yourself. Don't sit out there by yourself because there are multiple resources to help you get through it. So don't sit out there by yourself and go get some help. And we're open. We're not like we always say up front. We are not professionals by any means, other than in life. We are professionals in life. We can give you what we have. We'll share that with you. But at the end of the day, if I talk to someone outside of this and they ask me for help, my last thing that I say to them is, but this is just Mike's opinion, but you
Right.
still need to figure out or seek out some professional help. That way they can help you go on to the next step and next level to make sure you can deal with whatever you're going through effectively and truthfully and honestly to yourself. That way you can truly learn how that when you have those feelings or those thoughts, you know how to deal with it. I'll call it putting stuff in your toolbox because eventually you're gonna need it again. You know what I'm saying? So there's been, I'm telling you, even from past relationships, what I learned, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. What I learned, though, although I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. What I wasn't able to do is sit back and listen to what my ex was saying and really reach across the table and say, I understand how you feel. I'm not doing that. I don't know why you accuse me of that. And that's not the right way to be. So that's what I've learned, that I have to, like they always say, listen with the two ears and keep this one thing shut up. You know what I'm saying? So, but I've learned though that I was a negative in it because I didn't allow her to fully express what she was going through and try to understand what she was going through. I immediately was defensive about it and took offense to it because I was like, why would she think that of me when I'm here doing what I'm supposed to do? But my response should have been, okay, tell me how you're feeling, what you're feeling about it, and then let's talk about it instead of me being defensive about it. So I have learned and I even I've said that, hey, my bad. I messed up, but that don't change nothing though. Don't think we ain't going backwards, you know what I'm saying? But my bad. Anyway, that's all I got on that one, bro.
Yeah, man, that therapy, man, like that genuinely hit home, especially when it comes to you being vulnerable in that aspect to someone who you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it just, the mentality of how we grew up is just, man, I ain't gonna talk to nobody. I ain't gonna do that. Oh, nah, you gonna look weak if you do that. Nah, don't go do that. But I'm telling you, go seek the information for yourself. Go do the things for yourself. Go and get the help. Even if it's one session or two sessions, trust me, when you come out of there, you're gonna have some type of definitive, what they say, platform or foundation to where that you can build on. Like, okay, this is what's happening to me. This is how I should maneuver through it. Okay, so let me start doing some research and those things of that nature.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So tonight, we introduced ourselves. We came back into it. We talked about, the fear of starting over professionally, talk about managing finances, financial stress. And the last one is taking the stigma off of therapy. So I think is at this time you want to open it up for questions and see if anyone got
Yeah,
any questions about anything we talked about.
honestly, if we have any questions that we missed, or if y'all want to ask some questions in the chat, Oz and Leah go ahead and pin it so that they'll tell us in a sense, so we can go ahead and answer it.
Yeah, and if you don't have anything that pertains to what we talked about tonight, that's cool. But let's try to deal with the stuff that we talked about tonight first, and if you have anything after that, then we'll answer that as well. We're open to trying to answer questions if we can. So, and like I said before, he and I, we are not professionals, but we are professionals in life, though, and we can probably talk about just about anything that comes up between the two of us. So,
While we waiting on questions, man, I talked to somebody who, in a sense, it didn't like that I understood finance.
understood what?
That I understood finance,
Oh, why not?
and maybe didn't like is a bad term. It's more so intimidated because I understood finance. More so of like, oh no, you got your ducks in a row. I know that I'm not for you, and it seems like it comes off as intimidating because I understand finance. I never understood that. I never even
That's
asked afterwards. But
that was something that person was probably being they was self
sabotaging.
basically since you had yours together they knew they didn't, so they were looking down on themselves without you even saying anything. But what people don't realize though is that when you're trying to be in a relationship, is once you turn that corner and you're going down the same road together, you're building together. Now,
Mhm.
you may have finances together, but they may have another part together that you're not as good at. I know that you're gonna say you're good at a lot of things. I get that, but it may be something that you're not good at though. That person can help you. And I think that's the biggest thing to stop people from being happy in relationships is that they do think have that kind of mindset where, oh well, that person's gonna look at me because of this. Now look, I'm not the best cook in the world, but I'm not gonna starve though. I'm gonna be able to eat. I can cook, but I may not be able to do everything from scratch, but I can cook food though. But so I know that that'll be if someone else can cook better, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna be the best sous chef in the world though. I'm gonna be right there with them chopping it up because one thing I always say about being that sous chef, that's a form of intimacy going on right there where you right there with that person so that when you sit down to eat, y'all sit down and eat together. When you sit down after the kitchen being clean, y'all sit down and y'all do sit down together. And I can guarantee you from a man's perspective, if you're doing that for a woman, no, Lord, Lord, Lord. Anyway, I digress.
Hey, another topic for another topic for another podcast. Any questions for me, big bro? All I want is that for you. Rose, what?
What's the biggest challenge that you have in relationships?
That I've had in previous relationships?
What yeah, that you've had, yes.
Man, I think the biggest challenge for me is expressing that sometimes, man, I just don't want to talk. And it is like I've always said that because that's genuine truth. Like I said, like there's nothing wrong, man. It's nothing she did wrong. It's just sometimes I just need to be in my bubble. I need to be in my space. And it's not nothing bad. I don't know how to explain it other than how I explain it. And now, obviously, it's not taking weeks and all that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you know what I'm saying. You take a day or two. It's hard to tell a woman like, hey, there's nothing you did wrong, but I don't want to talk today. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard.
Yeah,
It's easy to say it,
yeah.
but
Let me
the
ask you a
effect
question.
of saying that.
Let me ask you a question then. At the beginning of the relationship, is that something you talk about, or it just happens down the road and then you try to explain it then?
Both. So
Okay.
obviously, saying it up in the beginning, obviously, you get some raised eyebrows, and then if you don't say it in the beginning, and then it kind of starts to happen, and then you kind of talk about it. But at the same time, though, like it kind of gives the same reaction, and I know in a sense, it's like, bro, just fix that. But I don't know why I'm wired that way. And
That's some.
a lot of people say it's just the Virgo in you. Like all Virgos are like that. But like, yeah, I don't believe in the horoscope stuff. So like, I don't really know how to blame either. I just and it's nothing wrong. It's just give me a little
It's a
time. Real quick.
personality trait. It's a personality trait, and just to be honest with you, a person has to accept that. They have to trust you when you say that if they want to be with you, because at some point in a relationship, they're going to do something that you have to trust, and they're going to want you to trust. So I
Right.
think that's just an understanding you have to get up front. And I would say when you talk about it at the beginning, don't not talk about it. You always have to talk about it, but you got to make sure they really understand what you mean when you say that. And no, 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 we're not moving on. Don't just no, no, no. Don't sweep that under the rug. No, because I don't want this to be a problem later on. Because later on you're gonna say that I don't understand why you're doing it. But we talked about it 2 years ago that sometimes I get like this, and now you're saying it's a problem. So I and then when if it was me, legendary, I would say, look. So I want to know what your true reaction is to this because it's gonna happen. It's not a maybe. It's gonna happen where I'm gonna get in a position where I may not want to talk to you for a couple of days. But the only thing I can promise you is though that I'll let you know I don't feel like talking, and I'll hit you up when I want to talk. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be a problem, but I want you to tell me up front that whether you can handle that or not. Because if you can't, we might as well start right now because that's gonna. I don't want that to be an issue. I don't want us to be upset about that, not talking to each other about that because we're talking about it now to make sure it's not a problem later on. I want your true feelings about it, but you got to realize that's just my personality. Days. Well, Brown Sugar.
What about
So
you?
I say that I don't. That's legendary. That's not. We're different people.
Look, don't
You know
blame
what I'm
us. I'm
saying?
just saying.
We're just different people. And I mean, for me, I run my mouth, man. I like talking. I like sharing stuff. He does too. But we're different people. There is no two people on the face of the earth that are the same. You know, so it may be days. And one example professionally I can give you in his defense is when he goes to the field, there is no communication. That's days. That's self-imposed by his job. So you have to be okay with that as well. But it may also be personal as well. Go ahead, legend. I'll let you speak for yourself. But
No, no,
that's how
no.
I would deal with that.
I just, oh no, no. I was flipping the question on you. What's
Oh,
something that you think your relationships like that?
what for me?
Yeah.
The most difficult thing for me is when we agree that we can talk about something and our moods won't change, but the moods change.
Oh
I don't
man,
mind talking about
I got,
anything.
I
I
got
don't
so much
I
on
don't
that.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing, but there is no reason if we're sitting down and I give you my honest opinion about how I'm feeling, I'm not mad about it. I'm just sharing with you, but you get mad and offended because I shared that with you. Because all that does is tell me subconsciously, don't share with you. So you got to let me do that, and we got to be able to walk out the house and go have a good time, realistic good time, and not faking until we make it time. Not going to another bedroom, not even talking about sleeping in a different room, but we can go back and do some things right after that, and have a good time doing it because it's just a conversation that two adults should be able to have and no one gets upset. I'm not talking about the things that are obvious, cheating and things like that. I'm talking about a normal conversation where your opinion is different from my opinion, and now you're mad because I have an opinion and not talking to me. That has never made any sense to me, and even to this day now, it's even more so. If I meet someone like that, then I don't want to deal with them because I can't be myself.
That's so funny you said that because now I just my last question I promise because
No,
like
we okay, man. We
the
okay.
relationship stuff. All right, is there a particular time at any point in a relationship to where you feel like an amnesty period is authorized? For those of you who don't know what I mean by that, is like, hey, let's sit down, let's talk. Whatever happens during this conversation, we're not gonna hold it against each other. You can tell me the truth. You can tell me this. You can tell me that. It can be the best thing or the worst thing. And then once we leave here, we're gonna put it in a treasure box, lock it up, and throw it under the water. We'll never speak about it again. Is that something that you feel like could work, or do you feel like nah, that just opened up too many doors to the wrong thing? What's your thoughts on that?
So right off the bat, I think it's a situational thing, first of all. And it
Oh,
depends on
big
what you tell them.
bro.
Listen to me. Just listen to me
Okay.
first. So if it's a, say for instance, you stepped out and you did something you shouldn't have done with somebody else. There is no way my partner can come to me and tell me that, and I'm not gonna be upset about that. You know what I'm saying? But if you're just talking about just general stuff, I don't know, maybe you spent maybe you spent too much money that you shouldn't have spent. That's a different story. So that's why I say it's situational because of what you may be talking about. That's all. But I think there should be a time. I think it should be that all the time where you could talk about something, unless it's the typical things that are off limits. You should always be able to do that because if my partner has stepped out on me with someone else, psychologically, I'm not going to be there no more. It'll be hard for me to be there. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say situation, not because of the box, but I'm talking about because of what you may tell me or what I may tell you. And I mean, you can answer it for yourself, but if your lady came to you and told you she's out there smashing with somebody else, I don't think you'll be able to put that in a box and just move on from that.
All right, my last one. My last question. My last
You
question.
didn't answer me though.
What?
Would you be able to do that?
That's tough. That's tough.
Oh,
All right.
exactly.
All right. All right. Just so we got a general idea of where we're going with this, I don't think it is. Only because it's too subjective to what it is that you asking me to be okay with, lock away, and never speak about it again. That's why I don't think that exists.
That's why I said it was situational.
Right. I got that. My last
All
question.
right.
My last question, and then actually
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead. It's your question. It's your question. I
No,
give you
no, we
my.
good.
Go
No, we
ahead.
good. Go ahead.
All right. When it comes to categorizing a woman when you first meet them, for those of you who don't know, all right, all men do it. All right, we're not gonna tell you out loud, but regardless, women, if you believe it or don't believe it, I'm telling you, we do it. It's wired in our DNA. We categorize women, even though we categorize them, it don't necessarily mean that you're gonna stay in that category. Obviously, the first category is friend zone and friend zone you. The next one is somebody I just want to smash respectfully, right? The next one is okay. This is girlfriend potential. Let's just see where it goes. And the last one, in a sense, is this wife material. Like I gotta go show her to my, what I'm saying. I have to get approval from my peoples and all those things, regardless if their approval thing or not. But this is somebody who I see as long term, and I gotta show the world like this is mine right here, right? With that being said, if you look at the social media realm, we kind of talked. I'm gonna tie it all together. We kind of talk about what some women feel like men are attracted to because of social media, i.e., these big wagons or people who are out here shaking the wagon stuff. They get a lot of likes, and then there's the women who genuinely shows themselves, hold themselves to a different standard, who shows that they wife material, who's speaking to you from a different lens outside of showing their body part. My question is to you, as a man, when do you? I don't want to say you personally, but you personally, when do you feel like what I like, I know I don't need, in a sense? When do you feel like that light bulb clicks on, or why do you feel that light bulb clicks on? What is it to where you find a woman in a sense and you like, dang, she's wife material, versus, oh, this is somebody I want to smash. This is somebody I just want to have friends with. What what
Right.
what is it? Is it something specific? Is it something that they
Yeah.
do? Is it something that's like you just in awe? What is it?
For me, and I'm being just totally transparent, and I like to sit back and watch how people move in different situations around other people. Because what I've found is that people, if they're interested in me, they're always going to try to put their best foot forward with me. But when it's other people, whether it's in a box, whether it's out in Walmart, or whether it's on the golf course or whatever, wherever, I watch how they treat other people. Because eventually I know that that same attitude or emotion or response is going to come back at me because I may do something they don't like. So that's how I deal with it. And that happens for me within a matter of a month or two of dealing with someone. It's not an instant thing for me because people have got over the years, people are very good at hiding their true selves. There are very few people that when you meet them, you get the totally true person. So you have
Right.
to spend some time with that person to get to know them. So in getting to know them, and I'm glad I'm already doing something right now because they ain't giving out no secrets to nobody, but I watch how they treat other people. You know what I'm saying? And depending on how they treat other people, that'll be conversation that'll come up later. But if they tell me that wouldn't be me, I don't believe that. That's the first sign that it's not for me because if I do something to you, it's gonna be me. That's just who you are as a person. But for me right now, because you want us to be perfect, you're gonna be perfect with me. But when you don't know I'm watching you with other people, I'm gonna see the true self there. That's for me.
Again, ladies that's in here, right? The like I said, like the categories that we put you in don't necessarily mean that you're gonna stay there. If that makes sense. But yeah, man, I kind of just off going off the previous lives or not individual lives when we go live, and a lot of times, man, like there are just some women who think that the likes that some get on social media is gonna equate to us wanting to marry that or wanting to be, what I'm saying, wanting to be with that. I just got curious. I'm like, oh, that's the perfect time.
That's how people, people in general, people on here, that's what they do, when they come across us, we are more into actually seeing and we dig deep into getting to know the person. We don't like that surface stuff doesn't have anything to do with anything long term or short term. It's just what it is. Once we
Right.
get off of here, we off of here. You know what I'm saying? We're not in that person, we're not hanging out and doing anything. But, sometimes if I'm out in different rooms and stuff, I see how people act and I say, oh, it's two different sides. Okay. Note to self, because even making friends, you have to be conscious of that because people, like I said, I'm gonna be me. If I'm gonna be the guy that's from the South that's gonna say y'all and accent and all that stuff. I ain't trying to impress nobody, but who I am as a person. But other people don't do that, So we just have to make sure we be conscious of that and move accordingly.
Got a question for me? Oh, thank God. Yes, I know. All right. Well, if there's no more questions,
Oh no, I got one. I got one. I got one.
oh,
This is just a general sense, right? How do you determine if you want to have another person? And I'm not talking about romantically, I'm talking about in general. How do you determine that you want to have another person that you become a genuine friend to? How do you move in that situation?
man, again, transparency moment. Like it is for me. I don't speak on me. I'm not speaking on the behalf of men. There's no way that I could friend zone somebody that I'm attracted to. It won't.
Right.
On the flip side of that, I already know what the immediate reaction is, bro. You're an adult. You know what I'm saying? Hey, learn how to control your emotions. I am in tune with myself. I know how I am, right? And I don't mean that in a sense of like, what I'm saying, I just want to just go out there and just X, Y, Z. I'm not saying that. It's more so putting yourself in situations to where in a sense that it is gonna be tough. What I mean when I say that, for those of you who don't know my theory, right? I don't believe again. This is going this gonna raise a lot of hands for people. Again, it's just only my thoughts, no one else's. I don't think the opposite sex can just be friends. We're not wired that we are wired to be X, Y, and Z with them. For those of you who's like, oh, I've had my friend forever. The only exception that I have to this rule is if you grew up with them in a sense, and or it's somebody who you feel like, what I'm saying, who your parents took them in, and now they more so brothers. and brothers and sisters. Outside of that, it won't exist. Only because those of you who are about to go crazy, just hear me out. And it's so funny because I talked about this today. The type of vulnerability that is required for a man to give to a woman subconsciously, like it brings us into another place. Even if the man won't admit it or the woman won't admit it, as a man, if I'm being vulnerable with you in that aspect, I'm giving you pieces of me. You are making me feel a certain way to where I'm comfortable enough to give you the things that I truly hold dear or I truly wouldn't speak to nobody else about. And because you allow me to tap into that and you doing it in a manner to where I feel safe and comfortable, you got to understand the position to where you're putting me in, if that makes sense. If y'all don't believe me, and listen, I'm not saying go do this experiment, but those of you who are on my live, you already know what I'm about to say. If you don't believe me, women, if you have a male best friend, now prepare to either forgive them or move forward or let them go. If you're gonna do this, I wouldn't suggest you do this because I already know the outcome. But if you don't believe me, you like, hey, no, my best friend, God best friend is just my best friend. This is what I want you to do. I want you to genuinely give him an opportunity. And I'm not talking about play around. I want you to genuinely make it sincere. Hey, I like you. It's been years. I want to open up to you, etc. And then lay that down if you don't believe me. And then ask, genuinely ask, don't play around with it. Genuinely ask, what's your thoughts on this? How do you feel? I'm 99.9% sure. I'll say 99.7% sure. He's going to tell you the exact same thing, and he didn't know how to tell you, and he glad that you did this, and he glad you did it, etc. If you don't believe me, try it. Even if you, hey, if you like, nah, I'm good, I'm not going to do it, I wouldn't suggest you do it because then things going to get awkward. But I'm telling you, like, as a man, it's already hard for us to be vulnerable. Like, you got to understand that. As a man, when we fall down, we hurt our knee, what they tell us? Hey, get up, stop all that crying. Hey, get back on that bike and try again. That's it is us. The world isn't nice to us in that sense. Like in a sense, like you have to understand the type of mentality and emotional connection that's required for a grown man to be vulnerable to you and think in a sense that y'all are just friends. Now, is it possible? I just saying in my experience, because of the situation that you're putting me in, there's no way. Big bro?
All right. This is my thoughts on it. And we've talked about this a couple of times. In a general sense, I do agree with you. But let me explain why. I think this is based on gender. I think females can do this more than males can do it. Because females go into it, most of the time, not we don't do absolutes on here normally.
Right, right.
But most of the time the female is more in tune with the emotional side and they're truly trying to be a friend. There are some
Right.
females that will do the same thing a man would do, but in a general sense, females can do that. I think it's difficult for males because our DNA is just conqueror, conqueror, conqueror. And we want to do that. But I like the first time you said this, I sat back and thought about it after I heard you on the live. And then I thought about it. If I had a person that we said we was being friends, and I wouldn't do this now because I've learned that all that's not always a good thing. So I can just say no to that because
Right.
it's just not always a good thing. But I can say in a general sense though, if a female comes to that person that's their friend and knocks on their door and has on a trench coat or a sports coat or whatever, and just some panties on or a thong or whatever, and say, look, I'm tired of thinking about this. I'm not sure if you're thinking about this. I want to smash. 9 times out of 10, and probably 10 times out of 10, smashing is happening. From the male's perspective,
Right.
that's just what I think. I would hope that it wouldn't. And I'm telling you, for me, I wouldn't do it. Now, Now, if I wasn't in a relationship, that'd be a totally different ball game.
Wait, hold on, hold
You
on.
know?
Let me stop you right here before you continue.
Go
So,
ahead.
just so the women, just so that y'all can understand what Big Bro just said, exactly what he just said, but from a man's perspective, let me give you an idea that you can relate to. As a woman, right? You know, if you ever been cheated on, and you feel like you cheated on me with that, you cheated on me with this person, that was a downgrade. I know there's women who feel like that. And when you think about that from your perspective as a woman, you're like, bro, you downgraded. Why would you do that? But for a man, it was just a good time and that was it. I am not condoning cheating by any means. But if you look at it from that lens, bro, I smashed her and I don't even like her like that. You know what I'm saying? I smashed her and I'm not even attracted to her like that. Imagine, imagine that aspect to somebody that a man is being vulnerable to. That a man is being vulnerable to his quote unquote girl best friend. Like, you need to understand that mentality now. If I can just smash her just to smash her, but I'm telling you how I genuinely feel, I'm giving you all these things that make me feel uncomfortable, but I'm allowing you in an aspect. You got to understand now where I'm going with it, why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. You giving me you creating a safe space, and you are unintentionally creating a connection to where it's something in a sense that hold value to me as a man. And because of that, the more that you allow that to happen, the easier and easier that connection gets. And if you ever, in a sense, as a woman, if you ever want to get curious, you're like, I wonder if he would really smash me or not. This is what Big Bro was saying. Not, I'm telling you, it's gonna be tough for him to be like, oh nah, we best friends. I can't do this. Again, I'm not saying go try that. We are telling you. I'm just letting you know. I digress.
Let me add to that. Let me try to put it in context to make it make sense because I know a lot of people are saying no, no, no. But for me, I'm just going to use me as an example. When I was when I was 9 years old, my babysitter, and I didn't call it this until last few years. I didn't realize what it was. My babysitter molested me. I thought it was a good time at the time at 9 years old. And I always say, I always say at 9 I started trying, at 10 it slipped in, and I was messed up after that. You know what I'm saying? Because so for that, going through that childhood trauma, I never put value on specs. So for me, I could do it with anybody when I was younger, young adulthood, into my 30s even, and it was nothing tied to it other than the physical act because of what I went through as a kid. So it's not always just black and white when it comes to that. And I hope you all understand what I'm saying when I say that is that I didn't have no emotional tie to the physical. I was more tied to how you treated me and how you responded to me outside of that. I was not tied to the smecks though. Did I do it? Yes. But I was not emotionally tied to it. So it could be with anybody and it meant nothing to me. So you're gonna meet a lot of people like that. So don't just make it a black and white thing because you have to dig deeper and peel back that onion to see what's really going on. Because even for females though, because as males, we want to categorize a female that's out there passing it out of both sides of the leg, but we don't know what that young lady went through as a child to have the mentality to do that. So we have to really understand what someone is going through. And people will be quick to judge them, but they will appreciate the experience they bring to the table in the act though. You can't have both. You can't have one without the other. Let me just say it that way. Anyway, go ahead, bro.
Oh no, man, that was really it. Like I agree with exactly what you're saying. I just really want to get across the type of connection that's required for a man best friend to tell you the vulnerabilities as a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know how strong that is. But yeah, that no further questions, John.
We just want to thank everyone for coming through and hanging out with us tonight. We hope that we be able to share some things with you all that has made you just sit back and say, think about some things. Because that's what our goal is, We want to come and share. And if we can help you get over a hurdle in life, that's what we're all about. That's what we want to do. So just we appreciate you coming through. If there are any questions before we get off, we'll take a couple of questions and then we're going to end the live for tonight. But we just appreciate you all coming.
Dang, big bro, it was nice, man. I missed it. I missed it. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
man, the how the gears get turning to where you start off with one topic and then it kind of just flows into another one and flows to another one and just be like, oh, but I want to ask this, but I want to ask this, and I want to ask this. I be trying to pull as much knowledge from you as possible, especially when we are recording the live.
I appreciate it, man. But iron sharpens iron, though. So I'm learning from you just as well, man. Because I just appreciate the relationship because I know you and I, you know, we can talk about anything and we get off of here, we can chop it up and we can just be vulnerable to one another and hold each other accountable too. No, y'all don't get it twisted. We hold one another accountable because that's
Lord.
the only way we can be successful. You know what I'm saying? We will talk about any and everything to make sure that we stay on the same page because we truly believe that's how it should be. And we also believe that you all deserve us to be that way. But I learned from you also, Mr. Legendary Pulls.
Hey, hey. Honestly, we got any questions? Not the laughter.
I,
All right,
I know
so
I said I wasn't going to do this, but I do see one though. It's from a user, and I'm gonna go ahead and read. I don't know if y'all saw it or not, Eyes and Lee. If y'all have someone before this one, let me know. But I did see this one, so let's see. It said, "Do you think misunderstood people are beyond grace?"
misunderstood, like misunderstood towards whose point of view? I mean, to their
Right.
point of view, they're not misunderstood. It depends on the person. If you are religious in that sense, I'm a Christian, so I don't think Jesus would be like, oh no, you two misunderstood. I'm not saying that I'm Jesus by any means, but I don't see him saying, no, you two misunderstood and you beyond help. I don't see that. I
I,
think it
let,
generally comes from which point of view you looking at that at.
I would just say in general, no one is beyond grace.
Right.
We should always be willing to get anyone grace because we're going to do things sometimes where we would expect grace and someone may say no, but you're like, but that wasn't that big of a deal. Why can't you? So I would say no one is beyond grace. I'm not saying grace to a point where you put yourself in danger or anything like that. I'm saying that because of what we believe in, anyone can get grace. That don't mean they get us being in their lives though. And when I say lives, I mean personally, not on here. You can get grace, but you may not get me being there with you. I give you grace and I also give you your space to move on from me too at the same time. So yeah, I don't think no one is beyond grace because because of what we believe in, that's what our teachings tell us that everyone, if if we can get grace, anybody can get grace. We can't pick and choose who we give grace to. Now we can pick and choose how we continue to interact, whether we're gonna be friends and things like that. But the grace has to be given, though. There's no way around that because of what we believe in. I don't know. What do you think about that, Legend? What I just said?
No, hey, I definitely agree. And like I just want
Okay.
to say, when you speak about are they beyond fiction sense, whose lens is judging that? You know what I'm saying? But just what you said, everybody is for grace missing.
Eyes and Lee, did y'all have any more questions that y'all were able to capture? If not, we will start the wrap up.
As always, man, listen, we appreciate y'all for coming in. We appreciate y'all for giving y'all love and support as always. Big shout out to Big Bro, as always, Eyes and Lee, who y'all don't see, but behind the scenes that's consistently making it happen. If you haven't followed the YouTube channel, we are on YouTube. If you missed all the previous episodes, they are all on YouTube. So the YouTube channel is Parallel Gens. You can look in my bio, you can look in the Big Bro bio. They're all in there. If you haven't followed the Big Bro, Oz and or Lee, please do that. All right. And then last but not least, hey, be the reason someone smiles. All right. Big Bro, got anything?
Hey, like you said, I've enjoyed it, man. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad we were able to get back on track. Eyes and Lee, as always, thank you all so much for always being there and keeping us on track. This ship does not sail without you all being right there with us. This is the Parallel Gens team right here, and we appreciate you. And Simon, as always, bro, it's always good to come on here and chop it up with you and share what we got going on. I really appreciate you, man. Like I said just a few minutes ago, iron sharp as iron, and we hear from one another, man. So I appreciate you.
For those of you who missed the complete episode, you came in at the end. It's okay. It's gonna get uploaded to YouTube within the next few days. So hey, just be on the lookout for it. Other than that, though, y'all go be great.
One love.